Hello everyone, my name is Neeraj and I'm the part of Kepro open source platform working as a cloud infrastructure lead. Today we are going to start a new topic, and that is EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. So now onwards we'll have a session on EC2, and today we are going to discuss about what is EC2, EC2 instance type, Ebs volume, and the lab on it. So let's start. So what is Amazon EC2? So the EC2 is nothing. It's a service that is provided by Amazon to launch your server. Very simple, to launch your server. Like on premises, if you have to launch a server to run some application, what you have to do, you have to provision. You have to provision the compute information. What is the computing information, like how much RAM is required, how much CPU is required, what could be the core, and what could be the storage size that could attach to this EC2 this server. So all this you have to provision, then the server will be deployed on the data center. Once the server will be ready, then you will install the operating system, and then you will configure your application and run it. So it will take that much of time. Instead of that, in cloud you just have an EC2, and EC2 stand for EC2 stand for ECC, means that Elastic Compute Cloud, means that you have to just few click away you can run your virtual machine. And what is required? It required a computation type, like which kind of your server you required, and then what kind of a storage you are going to attach with this EC2 instance. All this will go in a detail here. So EC2 is an Elastic Cloud Compute is a web service that provides a secure, resizable compute capacity in the AWS cloud. So why say elastic? Like today you are running your virtual machine with a 10 GB of RAM. You don't know the application workload, but tomorrow you think, no, I need a higher computation with high IO or high RAM RAM intensified server. You can choose for that and migrate to that server in a simple way. That's the reason it is mentioned that secure resizable compute capacity in AWS cloud. Now the second point is very much important. The AWS Amazon EC2 changed the economics of computing by allowing you to pay only for the capacity that you actually use. So as I told, in on-premises you have to provision the server, then the server will deploy in data center, then you have to pay for that. And tomorrow if you are doing your application testing, if it doesn't require also, it will be kept there if there is no use. But we have already invested that much of amount for the hardware. Here use the virtual machine as per your need, and tomorrow your testing is done and you don't want that virtual machine, terminate it. So it has changed a lot the economics of computing. Now the EC2 depend upon the type of EC2 has been categorized on the basis of their availability. What do you mean by availability? Suppose I have an AWS account, I logged in and I launch an EC2 instance. Means that I don't have to wait, and that kind of EC2 instance type is called on demand. Whenever I need, I went there, I launch an EC2 instance. So that is called on demand. On demand means allow you to pay a fixed rate of per hour or per second with no commitment. Like whenever you want to use it, whenever you want to terminate it. The second kind of type is reserve instance. Okay, means that suppose you think that I need 4 virtual machine with this much of size RAM and this much of this much of whatever XYZ core. I need a 4 server for 2 year. Next 2 year I want to run my application. Suppose you are doing the assessment for your production. So there is an option that you can go and choose the instance as a reserve instance, and say to the AWS, I'm going to pay upfront for the next 2 years for this 2 server, please let me know the price. So that price is much lower than the price on demand, and that price is also depend how much you are going to pay directly to the AWS the account. Like if you are going to reserve the instance and you are going to pay right away, then the charge will be very less. You are going to pay after 6 months, or you are paying as per the you're going to pay per month only, but you want to keep reserve, then charges are different. But yes, whatever the charges for the reserve instance, it will be much lower than the on demand. So they provide you the capacity reservation, offer a significant discount on hourly charges. The third type of depend upon availability is spot instance. Spot instance is like whenever you feel that this kind of availability of the instance will be checked when your work should not get disturbed. Like you need an instance, and this kind of a spot instance will be, suppose you are doing a trading, like I'm looking for instance, but I'm looking for this much of price. If any instance price went down up to your value, you can acquire that instance, you can work it. But if someone has bet it with a higher value, and this is the internal mechanism by AWS, the spot instance will be get away from you. It will give you 2 minutes to control commit your requirement or save your whatever the application, any document is open, and it will terminate from your account. It's kind of trading, like you are buying a share and selling the share, so you are putting a price tag. Like if the price will come to this much, your share will be get sale. So enable you to bid whatever the price you want for the instance capacity. And the fourth one is dedicated hosting. So dedicated hosting is like you, there is no direct way. You have to create a service request and you look for dedicated hosting. You can tell them I need a dedicated hardware. On that I want to install my application. So the AWS will provide. There are other vendor who mostly work in dedicated hosting data center kind of environment apart from AWS also. So in dedicated hosting, physical EC2 server dedicated for your use. Dedicated host can help reduce cost by allowing you to use your existing server bound software license. So that is also there. You can just want hardware, you can use your own software license in that hardware. This kind of facility is also available. So these are the type of EC2 instance based on availability, what kind of availability you are going to choose. So these are the term, like this is my on-demand EC2 server, this is my reserve instance server, this kind of term will come. So you will get aware of these words. Now the type of EC2 instance based on compute capacity. I told you, like when you go and launch an EC2 instance, what you need, and very simple. If you're going in on-premises also, if you need a server, they will ask how much RAM is required, how much processor you are looking for, how much Ethernet card support you are looking for. All this information will be asked. You have to fill the form. So very simple. When you go and launch an EC2 instance, there is a category, like it will ask like which category you want to choose. According to that category, it is predefined, like if you're going to choose this T1, T2, this is the X amount of RAM is there, Y amount of this much core processor is there, everything will be defined. So the EC2 instance has been also divided on the basis of compute capacity. These are general purpose, compute optimized, memory optimized, accelerated computing, and storage optimized. So whatever application is required and what family, or you can say family or category you want to choose, you can choose, and according to that you can look for your instance compute category, and then you can go ahead. So you can go to HTTP, AWS, Amazon EC2 instance type, all you will get very much in detail. But in the next page I have taken out gist of it. So see here, we have a general purpose. In the general purpose it comes as a T2 family, M5. where the good for changing workload, bustable, balance, good for consistent workload. C5, compute optimize, high ratio of compute to memory. Memory optimize is R for good for memory database. X1E, good for full memory application. Accelerated computing category. P3, good for graphics processing. Storage optimize, H1, I3 and D2. SDD backend, balance of compute and memory. SDD backend, and the high disk ratio. So as per you work with the different application, you will go in detail and you can understand which instance type or category is required according to your application need. So now I told, once you launch an EC2 instance, it will also ask storage, like which file system you will use. And for that, you might have remembered, like we have already given the introduction, this is elastic block storage. And that point in previous session I have told we'll discuss in EC2. So here we're going to discuss now, because we'll not discuss, we'll not understand. So the elastic block storage, we have discussed all the point. It is a binary file. Sorry, it's a binary storage. So a block storage, so you can install your binary, you can store any type of file. You can install your operating system, you can install your database also. So allow you to create a storage volume and attach them to AWS EC2. Once it attached, you can create as a file system on this and run the databases. EBS volume are placed in a specific availability zone, so they are automatically replaced to protect you. Means that you don't have to bother about its protection. This is kind of volume created, but beneath it is the physical hardware, and it is distributed amongst the availability zone, so you don't have to bother about which availability zone my elastic or the volume is created, and it has a copy or backup copy is there in another availability zone or not. It will taken care by AWS. Now the multiple EBS volume, like you can create a multiple volume and attach to one EC2 instance, but at a time. Now the interesting part is that whenever you launch an EC2 instance, it will ask again an EBS volume type. So one EBS volume type will be always attached as a root volume, and the root volume is nothing. It's a kind of C drive in window and the root directory in Unix, where all the operating system will get installed. Apart from the root EBS volume, you can attach whatever the volume size you required. Like if you required a 100 terabyte of one volume, you can attach. Again, you require 100 terabyte of one second volume, you can attach as a user data. The beauty of it is, like if you have apart from the root volume, if you have attached any EBS volume as a suppose 100 terabyte of two volume attached, and you have stored user data, and tomorrow if you feel my application is not good with this compute capacity, I want to upgrade, I repeat, I want to upgrade to a higher compute capacity, this need higher RAM and all, nothing, you just have to launch a new EC2 instance and then dissociate this EBS volume and attach to the new EC2 instance. So we'll see in future session how to do the migration or upgradation, you can say. So it also behave like a plug and play. Now the elastic block storage type is behind it's a physical hardware, it's a disk. So based on the type of disk, the elastic block storage type has been categorized. So first is general purpose, that is also called general purpose SSD GP2, and provision IOPS SSD. The basic difference is the general purpose SSD will give a maximum of 10,000 IO per second, and the provision IOPS will give a maximum of 20,000 input output per second. So see, this is for general purpose, ratio 3 IOPS per GB with maximum capacity of 10,000. Size can be 1 GB to 16 terabyte, a single volume of general purpose SSD you can choose for 1 GB to 16 terabyte, and that is the which use case you can use as a root volume, you can use as a small to medium size database, development and test environment. So if your application is more IO intensive, you can use provision IOPS SSD. Yes, the basic difference is also a cost. The general purpose SSD is lower in cost. Provisioned IOPS is higher in cost. So extreme performance, designed for IO intensive application, NoSQL database and critical business application. It will be, I told, maximum it will give 20,000 IOPS per second, and size can be 4 GB to 16 terabyte. A single volume can be selected. Now the elastic block storage, another type is throughput optimized is HDD and the cold STD. These two type and the magnetic standard. So the throughput and optimized cold, the throughput optimized SDD and the cold SDD cannot be used as a root volume. We'll see that it cannot be used as a root elastic block storage. Okay, so what is the base difference between this? The size of volume can be of 16 terabyte but maximum of 500 IOPS per second, and this is generally designed for frequent access throughput intensive workloads such as big data, log analysis. For the data warehousing, you can use this hard disk. Cannot be a root volume. I told they cannot use the SDD device. You can think SDD device cannot be used as a root volume. So cold also, cold SDD, size of volume up to 16 terabyte, but IOPS is only 250 IO per second, and that is also less frequent access. Cold data during the only the fewer scan per day can be mostly used for a file server, and this also cannot be used as a root volume. The magnetic is the cheapest one as per the hardware storage in EBS, but yeah, it's ideal workload for data access infrequently, and but this magnetic disk can be also used as a root volume. So this is let me go back also. So okay, so this elastic block storage type, general purpose SSD, provision IOPS SSD, then we have throughput optimized cold SDD and magnetic, the standard one. So the throughput, the main difference is it cannot be used as a root volume workload. This is for big data and data warehousing and log processing, as well as for the cold HDD. It can also not be used as a boot volume. We can use mostly as a file server. And the magnetic is mostly ideal for the workload where data is accessed infrequently. Mostly for the root volume we can use it in this also, because this is bootable. Now if you want to launch an EC2 instance, very simple. Let me compare with on-premises. If you want to run a server, what you need? You need an operating system. So here that is called choose an AMI. AMI is Amazon Machine Image. What is this machine image? See, you join a company and you will get a laptop, but you did not get a Windows operating system CD to install it. Okay, if you go to an IT infrastructure, they will put a USB drive and say that install from image. So here also in cloud, mostly its image is available. So the Amazon also provide its own image. You will get community image. You can go in a marketplace. From there also, if you want to buy any operating system image is just an operating system with a list of software updated on it and then create an image. So that will be standard for your use, and whichever the software required, if it is already present in the image, you don't have to bother about that. So to launch an EC2 instance, you need an AMI like operating system in or on-premises. Then you have to choose instance type, like what kind of computation is required, like RAM and core processor etc. Now the VPC, like which network you are going to put your server. So virtual private cloud. This will go in a detail in we have another topic, VPC itself. Networking is a big topic, we'll discuss there, but here we need a VPC. So we need a networking where we can put it. So we need to put in firewall if you are creating putting a server and operating system. So for that there is a security group, and then you have file storage is a elastic block storage. So let's go in a lab and we'll see how to launch an EC2 machine. See, I have already logged in my Kepro training account, and here we'll go to server and we'll go click on a EC2 instance. Okay, now we came on a EC2 dashboard. I don't have any instance running. Okay, come here, we'll show the instance. If you click here, see the instance. So okay, one I have terminated. See this, a spot request. First come with a instance type on the basis of availability. So I have to request it. So if I click on request, I just wanted to show you load balancing workload, flexible workload, template you want to put, which kind of AMI is required, search for it, then keep your name, on demand, how much you require, which one is required, or you have to fill the form and then you have to launch. So whenever you can say like your hour is estimate price and large saving, all this information will come. Now we'll again go to EC2 here, click. See this, reserve instances. Reserve instances means purchase the reserve instances. I've come here, you can choose which platform, tenancy, which tenancy, dedicated or default. Let me default. So you can search here. So if you want to search, add to the cart, see this, you want to go for 12 month, and there's a problem, term, any. A term you can for 1 year you want, or looking for 1 year to 3 year. If I'm going for 1 year to 3 year and then again search, see this, term is 36 month, effective rate is $0.005 per hour, upfront pricing is this much, right away. If you want to go for 3 year, you have to pay this much. Hourly rate would be 0. Payment option is upfront only. If you want to go here, the partial one here, for that, see this, effective rate is same, upfront is 70, 0003 or partial upfront. So you can convert, then add to the card and do the payment. So we have dependency, we have spot request, reserve instance, and dedicated hosting also, like we have to submit the detail, allocate a host and all. So this is the dedicated hosting. Now what we are going to work here is on demand. Like I click here and I request. So let me click here and launch the instance. See, if I launch the instance, what I have to choose is Amazon machine image. So quick start. Here we can use Amazon machine image. It is say that SSD volume type. So what are the present? It come with a 5-year support, provide Linux kernel 4.14 with a system GCP this much. This is the install. Okay, if you go to my AMI, I have not created any, so it is not there. You can go to AWS marketplace and any, like from the Juniper network and someone, but you have to pay for that. It's, see this, if you are using their host, or you can say image. Okay, similarly if you go to community AMI, if you want to go for CentOS, Fedora, Gentoo, OpenSUSE, other Linux, you can use that also. Now we'll go to click here, quick start, and we are going to use for Amazon Linux to AMI, and we'll select. You can also select 64-bit x86 one, or which one is required. Similarly for the window also, see this, we have a window for the window also. So now we are going to launch the Linux machine here. We'll click, see this, that is instance type, like see this T2. Then let me M5, see this, general purpose. See this, I will tell you one thing, M5 is a instance type. Okay, this A is a generation, and this is the size, X large, 2X large, 4X large. See this, the M5, then we'll go to general purpose, then the C5, compute optimized, and see this, what is there for core processor, and let me here memory. So if you want 32 GB for the T2, $2 you can go. This one is free tier, like I don't have to pay. So we will go for this T2 micro, and we'll go next configure the instance detail. We'll click here. Now see this, how much instance you want to launch, 1 or 2. If you want me, we'll put 2. Let me put 2, no problem. Network, I told, like whenever you create an account, or default virtual private network will always created. So here we are not going to create our own VPC, we'll create a virtual only, so it is a default one. Now interesting point, because we have come to subnet, we are going to create our EC2 in North Virginia region. So whenever you launch an EC2, please always look into that, where my, or which region I'm going to create. Okay, like suppose your project is running in some other region and you have to create some instance. You did everything, you launch your EC2 instance, you done your all application configuration, and then you came to know, my god, I did something wrong here. Because once you launch an EC2 instance, you cannot change it again. You have to launch an EC2 instance in another region, wherever you want, and if you have only user data in Ebs Volume, you have to move there. Otherwise you have to do everything. If you doing any changes in operating system and configuration, you have to do it again. So be clear while launching your EC2 instance, this is the region. So if this is the region and I have chosen the VPC here, default one, so you have to choose a subnet, and subnet is per availability zone. So see this, which subnet means which availability zone you want to create your EC2 instance. Okay, so you can choose this one. If you are not putting, it will, engine will choose in backend by default whichever they feel the available. But if you want to know, I want in F1 region, you can choose that. Auto assign public IP, yes. Capacity reservation, yes, it is open. Once IAM role, we have discussed about IAM role, am I right? In our user policy, you can set IAM policy video, we have already defined. We'll discuss here also the use case. As of now, we'll put as it is. Shutdown behavior, like if I'm going to shut down my EC2 instance, how it behave, it should be stop or it should be terminate. So let's say it should be stop. Enable termination protection, let me click here. Yes, enable termination protection means if by accidental I terminate my instance, it will say you cannot terminate. So then it will come to me, why I cannot terminate, why I'm terminating. So you can protect it. Let me enable it. Enable CloudWatch detail monitoring, it is additional charge. Okay, if we click it, let it be, will not click, we'll see that in CloudWatch session. Tenancy, okay, the shared hardware, dedicated hardware, and dedicated host. The difference is you have a single big hardware, hypervisor is run on it, and on that this is the shared hardware, so you are running your virtual machine. Now the dedicated means the hardware and virtualization belong to your account itself. There are many other instances or virtual machine running for your account. In that hardware only your account, this will run. Second one, that is called dedicated instance, and dedicated hosting means altogether a dedicated hardware. So we'll go with a shared because charges are applicable. Now networking, we'll click here advanced. Advanced means while starting my operating system, some service would get automatically start or install. That this kind of Apache should be get restarted automatically. All this you can write as a bootstrap script, you can say in layman language, you can write here. Now go to the next, we'll add a storage. See this root, we have already know that the root volume, the HDD cannot be a root volume. So see this, in volume type, if you go and select, you have only general purpose, provisioned, and magnetic. The throughput HDD and cold SDD is not available here. Now the second important part is that if you want the root volume to get terminate at the instance termination, delete on termination, you can click yes or no. This option is available, but you cannot encrypt the root volume. Okay, if you want to add a new volume, you can put, this option is EVS sorry, SDB, let it be here the snapshot ID, it will take 8 GB. See here, if I want to choose now, see this throughput optimized HDD has come. So we can choose that, or let it be general purpose. Now if you want to delete on termination, no, encrypted or encrypt it, see this encryption is there, means that except the root volume, other EVS volume you can encrypt it. Okay, now come and add the tag. Tag is important. Okay, so name my wave server, now tag project data warehouse department will be development. Like this you can tag that instance also. Now configure the security group. Okay, create a new security group, demo1 sg security group, and see in the security group I have given like firewall, it's a kind of virtual firewall, given SSH TCP, so everybody can do the SSH from anywhere and launch an EC2 instance. So you can review it. See your instance security, the security group demo1 is open for the world. Okay, now the instance controller is available for the free tier use. Why? Okay, we'll see that. So that instance is 2, storage we have 2, tag we have this much, we launch it. Now this is key pair, so let me introduce the key pair. The key pair is my Capro EC2. Okay, so we download the key pair. This will provide me a public PM file. See this. No, we can save this. So if you want, we can go to download, we can click here. See my Capro EC2 is downloaded. Now we'll come here, we'll launch an EC2 instance. See my EC2 server is got launched. See spending. Oh, I have chosen this one actually. No problem. So it will say the status pending, then check, then it will go 2 by 2 check completed, check status. So in that then you will feel that it is easy. See this running, initializing. See this. Name my web server. Key my Capro EC2, monitoring is disabled. Demo SG1. Okay, if we go to the description, we'll see that, let me see this, we can increase like this. So we can choose the we can see the description where which security group it belong to, ability zone, then we can do the instance type, instance state, public DNS, public IP, private DNS, private IP, which BPC, which subnet it is, see root device and the block device. All this information we can give here. See this vCore. vCore means virtual CPU core is 4, means it is 8 core. Here in AWS vCPU, one vCPU is equal to 2 physical core. That is the concept here. Now will use how to log into this instance. For that we have downloaded this PEM. Now we'll copy this PEM and we'll keep here, and then we'll go and log in. Use puttigen first. We convert this PEM file. See this, we'll go here in load, we'll create here an all file, then we'll create PEM file. We open it, says okay, save the private key as my Capro Ec2 pk private key in .ppk format and save it, and then close it. Now see this, the file has come. Now we'll see it is running check 2 by 2. Now we'll go to putty and we'll copy paste this one, this public DNS. We'll copy paste and then we'll keep it. See, ec2-user @ the DNS name we'll put in session, and then in SSH we'll go to auth. In browser we'll put this my Capro Ec2 pk private key, and then we'll say open. It will open here. Let me increase the size of this so it will be easy for you people to see. See this, increase the font. So see this, now I am able to log into this my virtual machine. Can I convert this virtual machine to a kind of web server? Yes. See, I have logged in as a EC2. We'll use sudo su and then click, will come as a root, and then we'll run this yum update force is equal to y. Let it update the operating system. So you can do whatever you want to do. You can do, this is your operating system is now yours. So let it update. It may take 1 or 2 minutes more. Now see this. So we'll go, and what we'll do is we'll install the HTTP also. Oh no, sy. Okay, once it is installed, we'll go to cd www and html. We'll create vi index.html file, and I'm just copy pasting the same index .html content that I have explained in my static web hosting in S3 bucket, that index file only, where I am written welcome to the Capro cloud session and capro.co.in, the website picture I have uploaded. So let's save this, and then we'll start the HTTPD service. Why I am doing that, I want to show you something. So if you start it again and then status. So now it is running. Now come to here in EC2, we'll copy paste it, we'll click here and we'll put here. It will never give any output. I have run one web server, but it will never again give any output. Why? Because go to the security group SD demo, click here and see the inbound rule. It has given only the TCP. So what it will do, we'll click on it, we'll add a rule. Please allow. What is allow? HTTP. Add another rule, HTTPS also, and then save it. So it's a kind of virtual network. Whatever the incoming you will allow, it will go out, outgoing will be automatically for that. So you don't have to see this. Now it has come here. See, even you go to EC2 dashboard, you click on EC2 instance. See this, if you click on this, (187), this one is there, 187. If you go to the public IP also, if you want to put here, it will give the same output. See, so this is the way how you can launch your EC2 instance. You can attach an Ebs volume. See, if you come here and click df-kh, see this, we have a two. One is for some has been used, and another is so. This is the way you can log into your EC2 server, as well as you can convert into web server and work it, and how this security group will work for the EC2 instance. We have seen this. Now I told we can click here, and if you want to terminate, sorry, even clicking on it is disabled. Why? Because see here, instance setting, image, network. We can go one by one. We'll click here and see this instance setting. There's an option also, change the termination protection. You click here, yes, disable it. Now go to the action, then terminate it. Now see this, it got enabled. Now you can terminate it. So it got terminated. See, it also got network unexpected, so it got terminated. So this is the way you can launch an EC2 instance, and you can play with an allowing someone to access your server, or not allowing some. I mean, by default everybody is not allowed, only you have to allow. So security group, you have only the allow option, like you can allow to come inside your server. Now we'll go to next. I told you, just I wanted to share here like how the shared instance work. Suppose this is the hardware, physical hardware on which hypervisor is configured, and on which your guest virtual machines are running 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what is the takeaway from this session? So takeaway is, need to choose region and availability zone while launching an EC2 service. So region is more specific. Focus, because once you launch you cannot change. Root volume device cannot be encrypted. The Ebs volume can be attached to one instance at a time. Once launched, EC2 virtual machine cannot be changed the region and availability zone. You can choose root volume, either will terminate or not on instance termination. Now the next topic we are going to discuss security group, use of security group, and lab on it. So thank you. Let's keep learning. If you have any feedback, please send us to feedback@kepro.co.in. If you want to learn other technology of blockchain, cloud, data science, ETL, data lake, DevOps, big data testing, and cloud testing, please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Thank you. Thanks again, and let's keep learning.